everybody, welcome back. This is the A&P Bible and today this is part 2 of the circulatory system. Remember, I'm breaking it down into 3 parts: blood and its components, arteries, veins and capillaries, the structure and function of the heart. Then I'm going to do a massive recap session, so sit tight because we're going to smash out the arteries and veins. Today I want us to be able to explain the structure and function of blood vessels, and I also want you guys to be able to get a piece of pen and paper and sketch out an artery, a vein, give me the visual difference, give me the physiological difference between the two as well. Right, let's get straight into it. Looking at this diagram, artery is over here, this is the red one. An artery turns into an arteriole, which is just a smaller artery, which turns into a capillary, which turns into a venule, which turns into a vein. So if you're like, oh my god, I've just had a full day of uni and she's talking about words I've never heard before, well, wake up because we're going to learn them, okay? Just hang in with me there for a couple of minutes. So the artery. An artery carries blood away from the heart. A for artery, A for away. So an artery carries blood away from the heart. The blood passes from the artery into the arteriole, into the capillaries where there's an exchange of gases. Then the blood passes through the venule, comes back up through the vein. The vein carries blood toward the heart. They have 2 separate functions. Arteries carry blood away, veins carry blood back to the heart. So if you have 2 different functions, then you're not going to look the same. So visually, let's look at the different aspects of them. Just looking at them, just look at the difference. Look at the massive muscular wall here. It's so thick, smooth muscle and elastic fibers in here, and it's really, really thick. Muscle is also known as a pumping action, so that's what it does. And obviously, you need a lot of muscle in an artery because it's carrying blood away from the heart. So the heart pumps the blood out, and then the artery's goal is to keep pushing the blood so that it gets all around the body to supply the oxygen and the nutrients, okay? A vein carries blood back towards the heart. So the vein is equipped for its job, carrying blood back towards the heart by these things called valves. So notice how an artery doesn't have valves because it has the muscular wall to push the blood away. We're not concerned about a prevention of backflow of blood. In a vein, we are. We don't want the blood coming back down. So the vein's just like, the artery I think is like the really hard working vessel. It's like push all the blood out, keep pumping. It's still working like a little gym buddy. And then the vein is like a couch potato. It's like obviously still has a massive role. But that's just how I imagine them. And the vein's just like chilling, like, oh, I'm just going to do my job, but we already have valves, so the valves kind of help me just prevent backflow, so we don't really need to worry, we just need to get the blood back to the heart. So that's how I imagine them. So the artery is really hard working, really thick muscular wall, pushing blood out of the way, and the veins just carrying the blood back to the heart, opening and closing the valves to help the prevent of backflow of blood, to get the blood back to the heart. So we can do the same thing again. Visually, so big muscular wall on the artery, small muscular wall on the vein. The area that carries through the blood components, which are the red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, blood plasma, and everything that blood contains. So the area that the blood comes through is also known here as your lumen. That's all it is. It's just the area or the circumference really of how much space is in an artery and in a vein that carries the blood through. So in an artery, there's quite a small lumen, whereas in a vein, there's quite a large lumen. You also have a layer of endothelial tissue just on the inside here. We all know that endothelial tissue is around kind of 1 to 2 cells thick there. And then connective tissue on the outside. So look at the difference. Connective tissue on the artery is quite small and a little bit larger on the vein. The thing that connects these 2 blood vessels, guys, is called a capillary. A capillary is 1 endothelial cell thick. So functionally, why would the body build something that's 1 cell thick? Why wouldn't it make it 7 cells thick or 7 layers thick or 20 layers thick? It's because it wants it to be able to transport things back and forth through a permeable wall. And in this case, we're talking about diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of gases through that permeable wall, which is also known in this case as a capillary. And this is specifically what the job of a capillary does. It's 1 endothelial cell thick. Look at the colour change here. This is just to signify for you guys to make sense that the artery is red because red signifies oxygen. So it's signifying that the artery is carrying oxygenated blood, and it's signifying that the veins carrying deoxygenated blood because it's blue. But look where the capillary is here joining the 2. That's to signify the exchange of gases from diffusion, and diffusion is the movement of gases, not water. So water is osmosis, diffusion is gases. So that's the job of those three vessels. Artery, carry blood away from the heart. A for artery, A for away. Capillary, to allow transfusion of gases through the one endothelial cell thick layer. Vein, carry blood flow back toward the heart, and the valves prevent the backflow of blood. So let's get into it a little bit more detail. So wake up now, here we go, right? Arteries, let's go. Let's just smash it out. It's transport now. Here we go. I didn't tell you this bit because I didn't want to overload you. Oxygenated blood away from the heart. I already told you A for arteries, A for oxygenated, or A for, wait, how are you going to remember oxygenated? Justin Timberlake's song, A.O. You know that song? A.O. I'm not going to sing it because I really want you to pass your exam, but I'm not going to do this on YouTube. But you can, A.O. I'm tired of using technology. You know that song? You can go off and YouTube that. But every time the heart comes up, there's specific things that I do. I have a piece of pen and paper next to me, and I start spitting out all these really weird things that make me remember if it's the right side or the left side. This is what you're going to do. You put arteries, and then you put A for arteries, underline that, put A for away, then A-O next to each other, because that's Justin Timberlake's song. So arteries carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. So easy. If we know that, then what do you think veins do? We already know it carries blood back to the heart. So what type of blood does it carry? Deoxygenated blood. Arteries have a thick muscular wall and a small lumen. We already discussed this. They do not contain valves. We also saw that. And it's blood high in nutrients because it's high in oxygen because it's oxygenated. Veins transport deoxygenated blood toward the heart. They have a thin muscular wall, and we spoke about that a second ago when we were talking about structure and function. They have a large lumen, and they do contain valves. So V for veins, V for valves. There's also a high concentration of waste products because it's deoxygenated blood. So I'm just going to give you a breakdown if you're like, Emma, why are you saying it's deoxygenated blood? So oxygenated blood is rich in oxygen and nutrients, etc. So let's just say I'm doing loads of squats in the gym. So my poor quad muscles, big muscles on my legs are like, oh my God, I'm so tired and she's pushing me really hard. I don't have enough oxygen floating around the body to support the tissues. So the blood starts pumping a little bit faster to make sure that the oxygen and nutrients are going into the arteriole, into the capillaries, close to the quads, where the capillaries will pass over the oxygenated molecules and take in some carbon dioxide, which is a waste product, pass that to the venule, pass that to the vein, bring it back into the heart for the same thing to happen again. It's just bringing over the concentration of either good products, which are nutrients and oxygen and loads of different stuff in the arteries, or the deoxygenated blood, which is also known as waste product in the veins. The differences between the two, we just spoke about them. I'm not going to take too long on them. You can click pause on this and have a read if you want to, but we visually really did speak about this. If you like bullet points, you're going to love this. Pause me and just have a quick read through. TS of an artery and a vein. Piece of paper in the end. Pay attention to this, guys, because in a second you're going to pause me and you're going to have to draw this, so pay attention. TS means transection. If you had an artery and a vein, think of them as two tubes or two straws, and you just sliced them down the middle, pushed it away, you'd be able to see this. Look at the difference between the muscular tissue. It's massive in an artery, and it's still very much there in a vein, but not as much, not as forceful. You have the outside layer of collagen, you have that endothelial layer on the inside as well, and then you have the lumen. So what is a capillary? We spoke about this, but these are a nice way to describe a capillary. A capillary is the link between the smallest arteriole and smallest venule. Tick, we already knew that. What happens at the capillary stage? So it's the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, which is what I spoke about a while ago. But if you want to be an absolute nerd and like love impressing your teacher or whatever, you can spit this back out of them. So it's actually, if you're being really scientific, it's cellular respiration by diffusion. Okay, so that's just another term for that. Don't get overwhelmed by that. Capillary is the smallest vessel, so it is, because we have arteries, veins, and capillaries. So the capillary is the smallest vessel. And it's one endothelial cell thick. We spoke about that a while ago, so remember, it's one cell thick because of its function. It allows for the passage of gases, also known as diffusion. So that's important. So what can you do now? What should you be able to do now if you weren't texting on your phone while I was talking? List 5 differences between the veins and the arteries. So get out a white sheet of paper, split it in half, put arteries at the top, veins on the other side, list bullet points, and I want you to draw them. Draw the TS, the transection, just what we saw there. try not to go back. Just do this without going back, and then you can go back and watch it again. A capillary exchanges the gases through the process of. I spoke about that process back a while ago. I said it's not water. If it's water, it's osmosis. If it's gases, it's called something else. And then this little fill in the blank down the bottom is a capillary is the something between the smallest something and the smallest something. Think of your diagram. There was an artery vein. Then they went into smaller vessels, which is the same thing, but them just a bit smaller. And then the capillary was so it's the link. So the capillary is the link between the smallest venule and the smallest arteriole. All right. That's it, guys. Literally, that's it. Go back and have a quick watch over that. Otherwise, grab a piece of paper and start spitting out whatever you remember. Who cares if you don't remember everything? You're not going to remember everything. I spoke so fast there. So just chill out, watch it again, maybe watch it again today, and then not tomorrow, but the day after. And make sure that you like and subscribe and share this video if you think it was helpful. And if you need anything at all, please email me at theanpbible@gmail.com. So THEANP Bible@gmail.com. Okay, thanks guys.